Mau Mau seems to be getting in good with the upper class. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 2 of the Apothecary Diaries. So this is our new Tuesday series. Going forward, we did our first impression of Apothecary Diaries in the past, and now we're getting to the full series. So what I remember of the first episode, Mau Mau was a young apothecary. She was working with, it was either her father or her grandfather. And one day she ends up getting trafficked. She's trafficked and has to end up working at the palace as a servant girl. While there, she ends up helping the upper class, specifically this lady and her child, when she finds out that the makeup being used, I believe it is poisonous. She realizes this and is able to help, and this grants her an audience with her and grants her this woman's favor, as well as the favor of this eunuch man, who is very much like the main male character of the series, and I think like probably a love interest kind of thing here. So yeah, we have that being set up. We also had another upper class lady whose child, I believe, died because of this before it was found out what like was going on. And like she was like upset at the other woman. I think both of the women were like I believe both of their babies were the emperors, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like the emperor had children with both of them. And I think that the woman whose child died was like of a higher class than the other woman. But I'm trying to go based off purely memory here. But the first episode was actually really good. It had a lot of good just, I wouldn't say lore, but world building, I guess is a good way to put it. Mau Mau is a pretty likable character right off the bat. She can be like a little mischievous at times, like sticking her nose in where it doesn't belong. But it's obviously been a help, so. Otherwise, she seems to like want to kind of like stay out of a lot of this. She's like, she sticks her nose in because she can't help it, but she doesn't really want to get involved. Like even the way she did it, didn't she like write it on like fabric? Didn't she like write the hint on fabric and like stick it where they would notice? Rather than like actually coming out and saying something. Because she's actually one of the few servant girls there who can actually write. That I remember because the eunuch guy did a test. He held up a written note to all the servant girls to see who would be able to react to it. Because only someone who, you know, would be able to read it could react to it. And none of the other girls knew what it said except Mau Mau. So, yeah, there's a lot of, like, intelligence to this as well. A lot of really smart writing. And I can really dig that. It gave a good first impression, and it was something that I knew I was going to come back to. And so it ended up winning the poll that we ran last week. And so here we are. But I'm excited to get back into this. Let's see where this goes and hope for the best. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. Hey everyone, just a quick little thing before we begin with the rest of the afterthoughts. Two things to specify about. First off, I did see the opening in episode 1. Episode 1 did have the opening. I guess, forgot about it entirely. So yeah, it was there. I just forgot about it. Second thing, and more importantly, when I reacted to episode 1 for the first impressions back in June, I actually reacted to the dub. And today we reacted to the sub. This was not like an intentional thing. I just forgot which one I reacted to, and I just kind of like defaulted to the sub. So because of that, now that I've heard both, and I even went back after recording everything else and listened to a little bit of the dub again from my initial reaction. Now that I've heard both, I do like both. I think both the sub and the dub are good. I think the voices really fit the characters either way. I'm going to try to make a determination by next week, which I'm going to stick with going forward. This was not intentional. It just kind of happened. But by episode 3 next week, I'll announce right away which one we're doing, and we will stick with that one for the rest of the run for this series. So sorry about that if you noticed that during the reaction. This was not intentional. It just kind of happened. But yeah, we will be continuing forward with one or the other. I just don't know which yet. I'll announce it right away in the episode 3 reaction. So yeah, let's get on with the rest of the afterthoughts. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So we figured out the cliffhanger at the end of episode 1 with the soldiers. It was just burning the wood. It wasn't actually the food itself. It was the toxins from burning the wood that was the smoke was getting everywhere. It was affecting them from that. It was also very just kind of like hand waved off, like, oh, this is our cliffhanger from episode 1. Oh, we're just going to explain it like in, I don't know, 3 minutes, and then the rest of the episode's going to be about other stuff. And it's not even like right at the beginning that it's explained what happened. At the beginning, you do see the scene again, but then it gets explained later on. So, yeah, I wonder if it's going to be the same thing with this cliffhanger, with this mysterious person on top of the roof. It was clearly, they were clearly meant to look like a ghost or something, but I'm thinking it's more along the lines of like someone sneaking in or something like that. Considering this series like has a huge focus obviously on poison and stuff, I wonder if it's related to that. Or maybe just someone trying to like take out one of the concubines, or like one of the other higher ups here. Something in relation to that maybe. I don't know. But this episode involves Mau Mau kind of getting situated to her station. She gets introduced to the Jade Pavilion, gets introduced to her new room, her new co-workers, the other ladies in waiting for the concubine, whose name I've already forgotten. These names are going to take a bit for me to remember. I think the guy's name is Zinshu. I think. I don't know. I'll get the names down eventually. But yeah, she's just kind of getting situated to things, starting to get her first tests, her first jobs. A lot of it seems to be around poison testing and whatnot, which makes sense. Like, they know that's her specialty, so they're going to use her for that. But like testing the concubine's food, yeah, obviously that's going to be a big deal. It makes sense. And as they put it, it's like the food trades hands multiple times before it gets to her. So you've got to be the one to test it, make sure it's good. Make sure it's not poisoned or anything. And yeah, it's like she says like she's not maybe the best person for that, but she is, let's be honest. From like being able to tell by looking at it, from smelling it and everything, even like the plateware was a test, because like even that, like silver can give away poisons, stuff like that. She's the perfect person to be able to test that. She'll be able to tell if there's an irregularity in the taste, even if she's going to be immune to a lot of things. um it's just pretty interesting to see. Also, there's some interesting other world building things in this, such as chocolate being, a rare commodity at the time. Like, we think nowadays in real life in like 2025, chocolate's everywhere. You can go to any store, grab a chocolate bar. You have a choice between like dozens of different chocolate bars. But like in the past, especially in certain parts of the world, chocolate was a lot more rare. It wasn't something that you could get a lot of. Cacao was this, you know, much more exclusive ingredient. And that's why a lot of times chocolate was like more relegated to, leaders like, emperors, or um, just the higher ups in the world. It's very rare, if ever, that lower ranking people got to ever have chocolate. And again, it's so weird nowadays because chocolate is so abundant. In 2025, it's actually really easy to come by and fairly cheap. Fairly. Um, Depending on what kind of chocolate you get, because some chocolates are, more fancy than others. Swiss chocolate tends to cost more. But either way, the point remains. And I like that they included that in here. It was something so simple. And it's like the one time that Mao Mao had ever had chocolate in her life was because of, she had the friend who was the concubine and all. We saw her in the first episode. And we saw here, like, she got to try a piece of chocolate that ended up being, poisoned with an aphrodisiac. And so it affected her at the time. And so when she's tasked to make an aphrodisiac, she makes it as chocolates because it's something she knows, something she's experienced before. She also puts some in like these chocolate buns or whatever they are as like a midnight snack that the other girls, the other ladies in waiting get into, which is like, oh no. Don't just eat things that like aren't specifically given to you, especially in a situation like this. In you're in this palace, you're in the rear palace, and you are specifically like in a situation where poisons can be in food. It's actually very common in this time period and in this situation, because people will try to poison the higher ups. So it's like you don't just eat something. Like, that is not on Mao Mao at all. Like, yeah, she put those on the shelf and everything, and maybe that shelf is like a communal thing. Maybe, I mean, Mao Mao wouldn't know that, mind you. So it's still not her fault, but maybe that was the issue. But we also saw that they were like watching her and wondering what she was making. They didn't know what she was doing. So maybe they thought, "Oh, she made these yummy treats. Let's try some." And yeah, it's just really unfortunate. um, but yeah, it was pretty fun in that regard, and we get to see a lot of like these the concubine and the ladies in waiting in this, and see like their reactions to her, like such as when they see her and see the bandages under her sleeve and everything, and assume she's been like abused or something and feel bad for her and don't want her to work because of it. They just feel really bad for her, when in reality she just poison tested on herself because she's a little psycho like that. Yeah, that's really fun. um this just overall was, a pretty strong episode. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of good humor in it. The cat ear thing was very constant in this. Like that was in episode one as well, but it was like very constant in this. I assume it's probably gonna be like a like constantly recurring thing then. Um, just a little visual gag to show when Mau Mau is like super excited and everything. Um, but yeah, it's like this was exactly like the kind of vibe that the first episode gave, which was like informative, interesting, it keeps your attention, it's funny, it's charming, and there's a little bit of mystery aspect to it too, and figuring things out. Um there also is the side of, like Jinshi, whatever the fuck his name was, um, trying to flirt with Mau Mau because like we find out specifically, I don't think we knew this from episode one, but we find out that he's here in the rear palace as a test from the emperor. He's trying to make sure that the emperor is trying to make sure that the concubines stay loyal and don't, lose their virginity or lose their or just, have relations with anyone else. It's the test is a little messed up, which they do draw attention to. It's like it's very extreme, as they put it, and yeah, it's a lot for a number of reasons. But that was a thing back in these kinds of times. It's like the concubines were specifically there for the emperor, and like they were to remain chaste outside of, having relations with him. That was the point. And while like by like modern standards and everything, especially here in America and everything, it sounds gross and weird. It's like that was the standards of his position, of the emperor's position in those days. I mean, I'm not going to say that makes it right just because that was the standards of the day. I'm just saying that's how things were. And so because this guy is so aggressively pretty, he was literally sent there to be a test. But he does also have, high position. And he is able to work with the others there to help out with things as well. So he's not just there solely for that test. In fact, the test is kind of like a like unknown thing, like nobody else knows about it except him and his advisor, his assistant. Um but he does have position to pull. I do love that Mau Mau is just not into him at all, though. She admits he's pretty. She, like, admitted straight up that he is a very pretty man. But she is not interested. Like, every time, like, he flirts with her, she, like, gets the full body Ghibli shivers and, just is completely rebuffing his advances. I love the one, like, moment where he's like, why isn't this working on her? He turns to the other girls behind him and, like, flashes a smile at them and they melt into butter, and then he goes back and does it to Mau Mau again and she shivers again. It's like, that is really funny. That is genuinely really funny. Um but yeah, this series is just really nailing this kind of uh vibe to it. It's definitely very fun, very interesting, and has a lot of good just overall like entertainment value. Because there's a lot of shows out there that'll be like really good at one thing or another, that'll have like a lot of like intense drama or world building or like character work, but won't be super entertaining. It's like, I think one of the best examples for me personally is Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan does a lot of great world building. It has a lot of great like political and drama aspects to it, but I find it so aggressively unentertaining after season 2, basically season 3 on. Season 2 is actually really great. But like season 3 on, it delves so much into the political aspect of it that it kind of leaves behind everything that made it so fun and entertaining and exciting and intensely enjoyable from the start. It becomes all about the politics, and I feel like a show that has political aspects to it shouldn't have it be like 100% about that. That should just be a part of it. It should have a lot more going for it as well. One Piece is a great example of this. Obviously, One Piece is very political with a lot of the stuff going on with the world government and the Gorosei and Vegapunk currently. It delves a lot into the political aspects, but it has a lot more to it as well that makes it very entertaining. Has a lot more like fun, goofy moments. Has like some great like character moments that really pop and stand out from like the overarching stories and narratives. Things like that. Attack on Titan after like season 3 on, just it loses all the stuff that really made it super investing to me. It becomes solely about the politics of it, and it loses that entertainment factor because of it, in my opinion. That's why I don't like Attack on Titan past season 2. And I know that's an unpopular opinion, but it's my opinion, and I'm allowed to it. I'm allowed to have whatever views on a show I have. And I'm not opposed to a show having more serious tones to it. But again, it's like it's got to have a good mix, a good blend of things. It's got to feel like it has, depth beyond just one singular focus. And so far, Apothecary Diaries is having that, because we have the humor, we have the mystery, we have the intellectual like discussions on poisons and stuff like that. We have classism touched on. Like, this is another one of those animes you cannot even try to say isn't political. Oh, this is definitely political. It touches on a lot of like big, like heavy stuff. And I wouldn't say does it all in a completely lighthearted way, but it doesn't let itself be completely enveloped by the heaviness to where it takes away from the show's like fun nature. This is a series that you have fun watching, that you're enjoying, because it kind of blends all of these different things together. Like, I think that in and of itself, that kind of makes it almost like medicine, You're blending all these different ingredients together, and that makes a proper whole. But like Attack on Titan past season 2, going back to that example, is just a singular ingredient. It's just one thing. You've taken out all the other ingredients, and at that point, it's not a full recipe anymore. You don't have medicine, you just have one singular ingredient. And it's just, that's my issue with shows like that. And again, it's not the serious tone, it's how the tone is used and how there's no balance to the tone. So, yeah, like even Death Note, which is a very serious anime, has like balance with it. It does have comedy, it does have weirdness. It has a little bit of a kind of romantic subplot, even if it's one-sided. But yeah, it does these other things that makes it interesting and investing, even though it is tonally pretty serious most of the time. You'll see some like silly shit happen still. And that's what makes Death Note really good for me. Because it still handles the balance. So yeah. Um, it may just be my views on it, my opinions, my thoughts, but that's kind of how I look at it all. And I think, like I said, that this series so far, just based on these first two episodes, is doing really good at this. I think it's really nailing the overall tone and vibe of a series like this, of a series that would touch on this kind of stuff. I believe I said in my first impression to episode 1 that there was aspects of it that kind of reminded me of Snow White with the red hair, and I still kind of stand by that. It kind of reminds me of other shows like this. There's definitely vibes of Snow White with the red hair. I get kind of a little bit of vibes of Ancient Magus's Bride as well. I can't explain entirely why. It's just the vibes I'm getting from it. I don't know if this series is gonna end up getting as intense and like dark as Ancient Magus can get, but yeah, I just kind of get some of those vibes when watching. Um, but either way, I'm very interested to see where this continues to go. So we will continue this next week with episode 3. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below what you thought of episode 2 of Apothecary Diaries. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.